Hi, on this episode of Foster Denovo Talks, we meet with Ameeta. Ameeta talks to us about her journey through financial services, starting in the banking world and moving through into wealth management.
I remember seeing financial advisors all suited and booted in these offices, doing business and knowing what they're talking about. And I thought, I want to do that one day.
About joining Foster Denovo, taking on board a existing client bank.
Initially, Foster Denovo wasn't on my list
Shocking.
as such.
Shocking.
And I told you this because I misinterpreted our conversation and I'm thinking all I'm going to do is review clients. And then we had the second meeting and I thought, actually, you know what, this sounds really good. However, is it too good to be true?
And some very unforeseen circumstances that she had to navigate and how she was supported throughout that. So do check it out. Hi Ameeta, thanks so much for joining us today. How are you?
I'm good, thanks, Helena. How are you?
Oh, I'm very well, thank you for asking. So Ameeta, today I wanted to talk to you about your journey through financial services and how you came to be at Foster Denovo. So take me back to the beginning, you know, how and why were you attracted to financial services?
So when I got married and we had kids, I wasn't working until the kids were in full-time education. And then once they started full-time education, I said to my ex-husband now that I want to start working, and he suggested working in a bank. So I then applied for a job, got a job in Halifax as a cashier, worked my way up. I remember seeing financial advisors all suited and booted in these offices, doing business and knowing what they're talking about. And I thought, I want to do that one day. I progressed through the ranks and went into management, but I was still in Manchester. And I knew in order to do that, I needed to get the qualifications. And I couldn't do that there because that meant I would have to go on courses and things through work. And my ex-husband wouldn't have been happy with that because of the kids.
Okay.
And then when we split up and I came to London, I got a transfer with the bank and carried on studying in the evenings and did my CFAs.
Okay.
And then within the bank I was working for, they wouldn't offer a financial advisory role.
And this is the old sort of FPM role as it was then,
yes,
wasn't it?
it was.
Yeah, okay.
And they wouldn't offer a financial advisory role. So I happened to be on a night out with work and bumped into somebody from Lloyd's TSB, one of the area managers or something. We just got chatting and he said, would you like to come and work with us? And I said, I would, but I'm studying for my financial advisor CFAs at the time. Once I'm qualified, would you give me a job as a financial advisor? He said, yes, of course. So I jumped ship, went to work for them.
Yeah.
Did my qualifications about 6-8 months into it, but also smashed my targets as what we called a PBM, personal banking manager.
Yeah.
So I went up to him and I said, you know, I'm qualified now. And he said, oh, we don't have any jobs. I said, okay, well, I've got my qualifications. Somebody else will snatch me up. I'm leaving. And he said,
I love it. Straight in. Just
straight in. It was
that's
literally
I'm not having
because
this.
it was an
I'm
open
off.
conversation that we'd had
Yeah.
at the beginning. And it was quite frank then. So when he said that, and he said, no, okay, we need to replace you. And I said, okay. He said 6 months. I said, no, 3, and I'll train someone else up. And then I got the job there, worked there, got a better job offer, of salary, etc.
Yeah.
at the time with another company, and just moved through bank assurance for quite some years.
How long were you in bank assurance for then?
1999 to 2000 and
Oh, she's giving the exact dates here.
2012, 13,
Okay.
something like that.
Yeah, okay. So a good stint. Yeah.
But bearing in mind, bank assurance, so financial advisory, probably about 6-7 years.
Mm-hmm.
But actual working in the bank from 1999.
Yeah.
So yeah, so a long time.
Yeah.
And then I wasn't happy at the last company I worked at. I didn't really get on with my manager. I worked there for about 2-3 years and thought, no, I'm leaving.
Okay.
Ironically, she was pushed out afterwards.
It's always the way. I mean, what we're learning from this already is if you're not happy or people don't deliver, you're off.
Yeah.
And you just make the decision and off you go. Okay, so bank assurance was then out. So what happened then?
SJP.
Okay. Yeah, okay, fair enough. So you joined SJP.
And I know people have a lot to say about SJP, but I have to
Yeah.
say that my steepest learning curve and the knowledge that I gained from working there was the most I've gained anywhere.
Brilliant.
Because bank assurance is so restricted. I mean, so the company I worked for, very close-knit, but did guide and help. They were quite firm.
Okay.
And it was a really good experience and I learned a hell of a lot. But then a year and a half, 2 years in, I got sepsis.
Right. Okay.
And so I couldn't go into work because I was hospitalized.
That usually stops you, doesn't it? That's what I find generally.
So therefore, I wasn't earning an income because I was self-employed.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
And I thought, single parent, mortgage, family, only one work, earning, kids were too young to work then. I can't do this. I need a regular income.
Right.
And then my time started with Wesleyan.
Okay. And how was
Again,
that?
Absolutely amazing. I don't have any regrets working for them. Brilliant company. Came to a natural end when my manager and a load of colleagues left.
Okay.
And it was just didn't feel like the place it was. And the irony was I handed in my resignation and another area manager phoned me up and said why I was transferring you to my team because I got on really well with him as well.
Right.
And we didn't have a manager at the time because our manager had gone and they hadn't replaced them. And then I went to work for Tenet.
Okay. Yeah.
And
She says with a wry smile, there's a story coming. I can feel it. So tell me about Tenet then.
So all these expectations of working there, reviewing clients, writing business, and obviously having worked at so many different places, I came with ideas. I came with how we can help grow, how we can implement things. And most of their sales force was self-employed, but they started doing the employed. So I thought I can help train and develop a structure because I had no onboarding whatsoever. And I had to learn. But because I've worked in the industry long enough, I would knock on doors and say, how do I do or whatever. But somebody coming in new who'd never worked, they would have fallen flat on their face. But only to find out that they had such a backlog of review clients that hadn't been reviewed for years.
Oh, God, right.
And that's
okay.
all we were doing. And there was no business being written. It was getting frustrating. And then changes were just starting to happen and they were taking on board what we were saying. And then we got bought out by my pension expert.
Oh, right. Okay. So just as things are going well.
Literally, it was actually getting there.
Again, it's always the way, isn't it? It's like the next week something happens. So then they were bought out by my pension expert.
Mm-hmm. And then within 4 weeks, I was made redundant.
Oh, lovely. Thank you. Welcome to my pension expert, and off you go. Okay, fine.
I think they only have one advisor left now. The others all
Okay.
handed in their resignation over time.
Right.
So I can't say any more than that.
Yeah, no, fair enough that things have changed. And then we had the luxury of meeting each other, didn't we? So what was it that drew you to Foster Denovo then? Because
Well,
you had different offers, didn't you?
I did.
You know, you are sought after woman.
I think anyone in the financial industry, if you think about it as an advisor, you're not going to be short of getting a job because we haven't got enough advisors,
True.
especially enough advisors with experience. So, that was never a fear of not having a job because you knew you'd get one reasonably quickly because they're crying out for advisors. However, I wanted to find somewhere, as I did with Tenet, to be fair, somewhere that I'm going to stay till I retire.
Yeah.
I'm tired. I've done all of that and I've learned everything and I can just learn where I am now. So that's what I was looking for. So there were several offers and interesting offers. And I think initially Foster Denovo wasn't on my list
Shocking.
as such.
Shocking.
And I told you this because I misinterpreted our conversation and I'm thinking this is going to be another Tenet and all I'm going to do is review clients
Yeah.
and write no business. And it's not just about writing business, but you want to do the two together.
Yeah.
And so I thought, and then we had the second meeting, and I spoke to yourself and Russell and asked more questions. And I thought, actually, you know what, this sounds really good. However, is it too good to be true?
Yeah.
And especially with the whole PBO, he's going to be introducing me to the clients over a 12-month period,
Yeah.
and I'm going to work with him and learn on the job, So I thought, fantastic. And then, joined Foster Denovo.
You did. And it's one thing to be said about you is you like writing new business. Like you get really excited about it. And it's interesting because very often advisors go into employed roles and people think they're more farmers than they are, sort of people that want to go out there and drive the business. And you're very much not that type of person. Like, you love a bit of new business, and you're always on the phone to me telling me when it's happened. It's great. So it was really refreshing to see that coming from you. So you joined Foster Denovo, and how long ago was it? It's literally what,
6 months
six
and a
months, maybe
couple of weeks.
yeah, exactly, 6 or 7 months you joined, and you came in to take over a practice. So it was Russell Cook's practice, who we've also done a podcast with Sam Oakes. So you came over to take over that business, and then what happened?
I think I'd seen 2 or 3 clients. I was still looking at Voyant thinking, what is this?
Yeah, okay.
And Russell was doing all of that. It was at the beginning, it was just introducing me. I'd been on the meetings, and if I had something I wanted to sort of say, I would say it, and that was fine. And then Russell got diagnosed with a brain tumor.
Yeah, about 4 weeks
One of the
in, I think.
nicest guys as well. It
Oh,
was
I
just
know,
like
super
so
nice.
awful. Um, and I think initial reaction was, oh my God, is he going to be okay? But then
Yeah,
it was like, oh my God, how am I going to do this job?
yeah,
Because I don't know how to do anything yet. I can give advice,
yeah,
but what about all the compliance stuff? What about all this, the processes and all the platforms we use? And Russell has used so many different platforms that were suitable for his clients. So it was like, how do I get onto all of this? How do I do this? So yes, it was panic mode initially, but then it was like, don't have a choice, just knock on doors and find out and get the help you need to do it. And that was basically my attitude. And I did, I think I said to you, I'm going to make mistakes because I'm not 100% sure about what I'm doing, but it's got to be done. And we're going to go through a painful period, but we'll come out the other end.
yeah. No, I mean, we definitely had some of those honest conversations, didn't we? And it was sort of like, crikey, this has happened like within 4 weeks. Because normally what we do is we have a year for somebody to transition their clients over, and you go to all the annual reviews together, and you sign it all off together, and it's a very nice transition from
Yeah.
one advisor to the next, right? And you sort of got, a couple of weeks, and that was gone. How did you find the support that you got from Foster Denovo then?
So I have to
Leading
say,
question.
I have to say, look, so you called me. I had Helen call me, Roger. They all emailed me to see if I was okay and check in on me. But really, there wasn't a lot anyone could do as such, other than me reach out and say, I need help with this. So Neil helped me with the Voyant because you put me in touch because I couldn't do the Voyant. And I
Mm,
had to do that for my reviews. Angie was a godsend because she knows all the clients. And as much as she's particular about how things are done with the client, she knows them all. She could give me the story. She could guide me as to what I needed to do. So I did get support. I got the support I asked for. I didn't ask for more. If I'd have said I want someone to hold my hand through every client, through every meeting, I'm pretty sure that would have been given. But that's not what I wanted because I needed to learn this myself now.
yeah, and I think what I know about you is you're a pretty determined person, and you're quite resilient as well. So then, what happened, Amita? Yeah, I look embarrassed. I would. So what happened after that? So we heard like Russell was ill, and thankfully he's fine now, and all is well. And then what did you decide to do? Mm,
So just over a month after, just as I'm finding my feet, and I think I can do the reviews, I can put the basics in Voyant. Great. Um, I decide to fall and break all my fingers,
yes, in the one hand. Yeah. Okay.
all four.
Yeah. Yes, you did. Yeah, no, exactly. So you took a tumble
Hmm.
one evening and broke your hand and all your fingers, basically.
Yeah.
And what's the well? I mean, let's talk about first of all the healing process, because it's still and we jokingly refer to it as the claw, but it looks a lot better now. So, I mean, what was the process of going through that? Because you had a lot of hospital appointments and a lot going
Yeah.
on.
So initially I was, so I couldn't see clients for the first few weeks after this. So I was taken straight to hospital. I was in Coventry at the time, taken straight into hospital, and I spent a few nights there. Then they sent me back. And they sent me to Chelsea and Westminster because they've got hand specialists there. And because of the damage I'd done, all four fingers broken, multiple fractures. Honestly, I looked like Freddy Krueger, but with a fat hand as opposed to a skinny hand. It was horrible.
So that's all been happening. Now, you were brilliant, right? You were working, you were refusing to take the pain meds, you were saying, I've got to do my reviews, I've got to do all these different bits, etc. So you were brilliant throughout that. And how is it now? Obviously, we've gone through quite a lot of it. So, you've not had Russell. You've obviously had your injury as well. How are you finding it with the clients and that sort of stuff? Because you came and then you sort of disappeared again, and you're trying to build the trust with the client. So how's it been?
I think, there are times when I've been inundated. So we had to carry forward a lot of stuff from November, December. So January, February were a bit chaotic. And we're getting through the process, and there is business, and there's all of that happening. Russell is now helping me in the background as well, which is really good, because there are things that can be done quicker by him, and I can carry on with what I'm doing. So we're now getting on track, and I think in the next month and a half, should be on top of everything.
Brilliant.
Then I start proper official training with somebody on Voyant, with all the things that happen in the background. But then I can start working on developing the other areas I want to develop, because I'll be on top of. There have been a couple of clients who are still reluctant.
Okay.
However, I think in time I'll win them over.
Yeah.
On the whole, though, I think it's been fine.
And I suppose it's a thing, isn't it? When you come in, it's been, Russell's built this book over 30 years, right? And it's, it's a wrench for him. It's an emotional thing for him to be passing this over, but also for you to take over the clients and for them to trust you.
That's right.
And I think you have done a brilliant job of getting the clients to trust you. And as you said, people are referring left, right, and centre to you. You're writing new business from it, etc. So, do you think you would be in a different phase if you hadn't have sort of had the injury or not? Or how do you think it would have been?
I think I would have been further ahead.
Yeah.
Because I would have been on top of things a lot quicker. I'm still playing catch up, and there are still things I am still making the odd mistake. Nothing that's going to affect the business as such, but in the sense of, I may not get back quickly enough because I've got so much other stuff. But Angie's really good, because she'll just say, Ameeta, have you done this? And it's like, no, Angie, I'll go and do it now. Yeah. So it's great having Angie there as a support and a reminder. And as advisors, we're great generally with clients and giving advice. It's the admin side of things.
It's the back office. Yeah, absolutely. And Angie is an absolutely brilliant support to you, and she has been to Russell for a long time. So I suppose that's the next year, isn't it, for you, is really just bedding in, making sure all the clients are good, sending Russell off into the sunset so that he can go on his travels. What advice would you give to somebody coming in, let's say to Foster Denovo, that's coming in to take over an existing client bank?
I would say that learn the processes first. Just spend a few weeks sitting down with whoever the buyout is from and understand that, because I think that is where, if you understand that, then if you're coming in, you're going to be an advisor anyway. So you should know how to give advice. And building up relationships should come a second nature to most of us. So that shouldn't be. It's just understanding the back office stuff.
Yeah.
And once you understand that, everything else seems to fall into place, because then your advice just should be natural anyway. Clients are great, and I'm not just saying it because I'm on this podcast. I have had support. I have had no pushback through my injuries or any. I've never felt like it's hard work for you guys to do anything for me. I know I haven't asked for huge amounts, but the point is, even if I did, I don't think it would have been a pushback.
No, I mean, listen, we would support you through anything. Like, you've come in and you've knocked it out of the park with everything that you've had to deal with in the process. You have been absolutely brilliant throughout. Honestly, you know how much I'm a little bit in awe of you. I do think you're brilliant.
Do you know what, though? Like I said to you last time, you've put me on this pedestal, and the only way is down.
Yeah, so you've got to stay there, right?
Exactly. No pressure.
No pressure at all. Look, it's been brilliant chatting today. So thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Helena.